broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey there, Helix fans! Welcome back. Welcome back to the Helix After Show here on AfterBuzz TV, talking about Season 2, Episode 5, Oubliette. I'm Matt Lieberman. What are you whistling?
San Jose. We didn't have the music.
I don't know where it is this
It's
week.
cool. We have our own music.
I've been a week, so
Wait, no, she's doing Griffith, you're doing San Jose, and then somebody in the corner is just like swinging to jazz music like Brother Michael.
Or like straight...
You know the way to
whatever kind of disco nightmare we had as our happy music of the week
I
this
love
week.
that.
But hey, gang, Matt Lieberman here, Stephen Lemieux here,
Hey guys,
Liz
good to
Rishmawy
see ya.
here,
What's going on?
Zach Wilson's here.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us.
And we have a very special guest this week. Mr. Neil Napier's here. Glad to have you back, sir.
Hey, happy to be back.
Vector
Peter
King,
Farragut.
the Vector King himself.
Yeah, that's actually the first question that we got on Twitter was, do you miss being a Vector God King?
I do a little bit miss being a Vector God King, because that was the best thing about it, was being the most interesting person on set when you're there.
Yeah.
But now I just look like me, and people are like, "Oh, hey Neil, how you
You're
doing?"
still interesting.
Yeah,
So
somewhat.
since you've been here last, you've done a pretty big dick move,
Yeah,
and you let the scythe go,
you know,
and you're doing a pretty dick move this time.
Yeah.
But at least the dick move's on you this time.
I'm seeing a pattern emerge.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a game of dick moves.
Game of dick
Yes.
moves. Yeah.
It's like Game of Thrones, except
Before
Game of
we
Dick
jump
moves.
too deep into it, first of all, I want to say hello to those of you who are watching us live on YouTube. Hey there in the chat roll. Please feel free to ask us questions. We can ask Neil while he's here. Also, you can tweet at us at any time during the show and after using the hashtags Ziz, that's Z-I-Z, hashtag Ziz, or hashtag ABTV Helix. We're going to give out our Twitter handles, all of us right now, so that you can do that. I am at Matt Lieberman, that's MattLieberman.
I am at Stephen Lemieux, StephenLemieux, and I'll be in the chat live with you guys on YouTube.
You can find me at Lizzie Maui. That's at LIZZYMAWY.
I am that Zach Wilson, THATZACHWILSON.
Oh my God, you guys do that so fast. I am Neil Napier at NEILNAPIER.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well done.
See, I think he's got like a French kind of name too, and I almost feel like sometimes he even messes up on it when he's like, that's why he just points down like he's hoping the guy can spell his own
If
name.
I was to say, moi je m'appelle Neil Napier, donc on peut. No, I won't finish in
I
French.
can understand.
Hey,
You can
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
a little bit of French? Matt got flushed.
I
You're getting a little
believe I got the vapor.
It's the language of
Matt,
love.
with that black and white striped shirt, shouldn't you just be able to understand?
Blue and white. It's completely different.
You know who had the vapors this season? All the kids on this island a few episodes ago.
Just only when you're playing Time Machine. So let's jump in because we don't have a ton of time.
My uncle played Time Machine with me.
So, Peter, this season, first of all, congratulations on being more of a central role this season.
Thank
It's
you.
a pleasure to get to see you not just zizzing everywhere.
It's a pleasure not to be zizzing everywhere.
Yeah.
Congratulations on not being boiled and killed in the third episode.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Boiled, I mean.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right.
With a Y.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
But at the top of this episode, like, he's just straight up knife right in Alan's back. And I know that I think we talked a little bit last year about your relationship between the two of you, and we got to see that definitely on display in this episode, which I think is my favorite of the season so far. But I guess I want to know why is he betraying him here?
Well, I think Peter has a lot of secrets. He comes to season 2 with a lot of baggage from last year, which we all know where that comes from, and a lot of secrets. I think he's a really conflicted cat, and he's trying to figure his way out through this as we go along as well. And he's got a few agendas, some that he has now exposed, some that may or may not still be in his back pocket. So yeah, Peter's a really conflicted guy, and he's kind of looking out for himself right now. This we've wandered into a situation that is not as controlled as maybe he thought it might be. So he's improvising a little bit as he goes along, as I think a lot of the characters are.
Sure.
That's one of the things I love about this show is we have these real people thrown into these really extraordinary circumstances that are beyond anything you could imagine actually having to deal with. And it is something that is beyond the scope of any of their experience and beyond the scope of any of their capacity, really. And so we're all the characters are kind of pushed to their limit and forced to improvise a little bit.
Are we going to get, and I know I'm kind of jumping right in here with the questions, but this episode we got our very first flashback to the interim between season 1 and season 2.
Yes.
And I guess I wanted to know, are we going to get any type of flashbacks with you to clarify what happened between then and now?
I don't know how much we're going to use flashback. Are you referring to Dr. Summer?
We kind of learned that he has an agenda. Mm-hmm. I want to know, are we going to see anything from between season 1 and season 2 with Peter?
More information is going to come out for sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure we're going to be using the device of a flashback to attain that.
A time machine, perhaps?
Maybe a time machine. Yeah, and then I'll go beat up Dr. Summer.
There we
With
go.
rocks.
He's just having the worst time.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
gosh.
Well, apparently he deserves it. I mean, he is Dr. Dick Texas.
It's true.
Look, second Sergio. I mean, in season 1, Sergio had a pretty rough time. He always was getting beaten up, tied to things.
Yeah, but he was getting kissed by beautiful women all the time. How hard is that? Getting tied up. And,
Yeah.
Killed cat.
Freaking 7 of 9. But now we have second Sergio, who seems to be doing all these things, and it's so great that they actually have a full body suit. Because I was just thinking, like, they don't have very good equipment, but the fact that you can avoid the bees.
Yeah.
That's
That
just,
was
you know
handy.
what? That's karma. You know, out of all the bad things, getting beaten by rocks, you don't have to get stung by
But here's
bees.
the thing, right? He's running from these people towards the bees.
Which was good, though, in a way.
It worked out fine, but it's a
He's
very
in
fragile suit.
He's in a suit that, okay, nobody can look good running in one of those suits. Let me say
No.
that for
although
one.
if anybody's going to look good running in that suit, it's going to be Matt Long.
Yes.
He looked as good as you can look.
Yeah, she did.
It's true.
Especially just the fact that his pants were shiny as he's running in like the most 70s like 80s chase sequence ever.
That music.
I just wrote down
Like a big white jumpsuit, right?
I'm gonna have to ask Steve Maeda if they had tried to get the rights to Benny Hill, because that was such a perfect Benny Hill scene.
With that disco nightmare music.
I love the Disco Nightmare, but if just play Benny Hill to that thing.
I mean, just call it Dr. Dick Texas in the 70s chase sequence. It's like you might as well have a movie.
Every time when the guy started getting stung by bees, though, I kept hearing Nicolas Cage in my head, like, the bees! Oh, not the bees! The bees! Like, that's all I wanted to just go over in the background.
I was just hearing,
Texas.
let's cover Henry Winkler and bees.
Yeah. So let's get back to Peter before we fall completely down this hole, much like you did this episode.
Damn, oubliette.
And oubliette. That's the wrong accent.
Close.
Are you Russian?
So no, I'm not Russian. I'm a quarter Russian. So Peter just flat out betrays Alan, and he's locked in this oubliette with him. And what was it like shooting this sequence? I mean, it's great. You guys rarely get a ton of scenes together.
Yeah.
So it was great to get you two in a nice meaty scene.
Yeah, it's great working with Billy Campbell. He's a bit of a mentor to me. Like, I've learned a lot from him in the past couple of years working with him. And we just had a lot of fun. It was nice to be in that contained space, because then you're forced into these two-hander scenes that you can really get into the meat of them. He almost put me right out the other side of that wall when he
What he just gored you? He gored you.
Yeah, when he slammed me into that wall. 'Cause we both play rugby, right? Like, our background both.
Nice.
But he's like 6'4", 230 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm 5'9", 160.
Yeah, you guys
And I
kind of
heard
play
the-
different, not the same
Different positions for sure. And when he slammed me into the wall the first time, I heard the flat just go crack. like, oh my God. Am I going to survive this? Take one. No, we had a great time. It was a lot of fun just engaging physically, and we both like to do that. So I think we did most of that fight scene. There were a couple of shots that maybe the stunt doubles took the harder hit down to the ground.
Which is only hilarious because you guys play rugby, so like there's nobody better on this planet that can take a hit than a rugby player.
Yeah.
But they're like, all right, we got to these guys need jobs, so we're going to take the stunt.
Well, you know what? And also there's something about actors doing their own stunts as opposed to stuntmen. We get in the scene, do you know what I mean? And our adrenaline gets up and control kind of goes out the window because we're just playing the realism to it. So it's really wise to let the stuntman step into an emotionally charged scene.
Okay.
You know?
Good
so
to know.
What I really loved about this scene was the fact that throughout season 1 you were incapacitated, in other words.
Yeah.
You didn't really have a chance to have the moment with Alan. So this is the first time we really have to lock you guys in your own tiny little bottle episode of, not saying the episode was, but of force yourselves to talk, because I mean, I feel that was a good writer's tool to get you guys to actually get a lot off your chest, because otherwise we would have never had these characters stay in the same room together long enough to have this happen.
Yeah,
absolutely. A big shout out to Lee Dana Jackson, who wrote this episode, and the whole writer's room. I think they did a great job this year. But Dana, in this episode, when I first read that scene, or those couple of scenes down in the oubliette, I was like, that's right, they're brothers, like the end of the world, and they're bitching each other about high school things, right? That's true. That's like my older brother and I in real life. We're like that. You can just push each other's buttons about the stupidest little things, and you'll go off.
We were actually just saying outside before when I was just like, that scene where he's like, well, I do everything better than you. Like, that's not what your wife said.
Yeah.
Said that one part to me. You're like, yeah, well, when you were reading it was kind of funny because there's a scene where he says, "You son of a bitch," and then you want to be like, "But your mother is my mother."
Have we established that their father is dead or not?
I thought that was.
We have. Okay.
In season 1, when the one lucid moment I have, I think in episode 4 in season 1, where the conversation between Peter and Alan.
Yeah.
Alan says he's dead. He can't hurt us anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that was the thing that stood out to me most about this episode and this scene. Like, there's a lot of big story stuff going on in this show. To this point, we've been so focused on the craziness, the sci-fi aspect of it. We haven't had a lot of human moments that just about what makes these characters real people.
Right.
And this is the scene where we got it. We got that moment of you're becoming dad. You're the relationship really came through. Is that something that you guys sort of worked on and fed off before and up to this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think in season 1, that's one of the things. I mean, my character was in a coma half the time, and in the air.
But you played a great comatose patient.
Thank you. And zizzing about the whole time. But what I tried to focus on in that first season was the way Peter feels about the people around him, Julia, and I had a lot of time to think about it, lying on a gurney or whatnot. But I think that's a really important thing, and that's what I love about this episode and about this scene between Peter and Alan, is you do get to see these men, and you do get to see their imperfections and their petty jealousies, and in a way this kind of strange love between them, and a difficult brotherly love between them, and just how deep the betrayal can be because of that.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful shooting it with Billy. It just felt like a really honest scene.
Yeah. Do the writers give you any more of that backstory beforehand going into it, or do you really just find it on the page and then sort of bring it out that way?
Yeah, we mostly find it on the page, and we have a whole previous season to kind of look back at and go like, oh, is Dad dead? You were right, Dad's dead. You told me that.
Unless he's totally a silver and he faked his death years ago when we meet him in season 4.
Are we going to get, at least in this season, because what I found very interesting about the scenes between you and Alan in this episode, and even in the previous ones, when you're on the phone with Mark Ganime, first Sergio, not second Sergio, you seem genuinely scared as opposed to worried. It's more of like a fearful thing. And I'm wondering what your motivation for working with Ilaria is, and the fact that Alan called you out on it in this episode and you still didn't say anything means that there's a higher stakes game here with Peter. Are we going to find out by the end of the season kind of the reasoning behind your character's decisions to betray the group?
Yeah, we are. That's gonna come out. Can't remember exactly what episode, but the interesting thing about this season is we're fed a lot of information, and you can see it starting to happen, that it's being backfilled as we go through the season. You're going, oh, okay, there's some answers to some of the big questions from maybe episodes 1 and 2, and some stuff from last year that's starting to you're starting to glean a little more about. That's true of Peter's motivations as well, and they're really nebulous. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think Peter is a guy who's not as good at what he's doing as he wishes he could be. Do you know?
Which is probably where part of the anger he gets with Alan being, we're like the better brother or whatever.
Yeah,
this is probably his trying to prove himself.
Well, then stealing his wife.
Yeah.
That's again a character.
I don't think he stole his wife.
Yeah.
I think Julie and Peter had
a moment of reflection.
Well, and also Alan was very focused on his career, and you know what Kira and I talked about last year, and how that informed the relationship between Peter and Julia, was that I was the one who was understanding, that she could talk to about her brother, and then something formed from that.
Do you know when the last time Peter and Julia saw each other was? Was it Arctic Biosystems or any time in between?
No, Arctic Biosystems is the way I've felt it the whole time. Yeah. More to the question about Peter's motivations, I'll just finish up that thought. Is I really feel like Peter is a man kind of in search of a purpose, and that's why these scenes down in the pit from episode 5, when Alan says the things he does, like, you're just, what does he say, a hack who's trying to live my life because he doesn't have one of his own. It's true. Do you know what I mean? That's why it gets under Peter's skin.
Yeah.
That's how he feels.
I have a quick question, though, before we move on to this. Do you feel that if the scene played out differently, do you feel that Peter would have left Alan in the pit?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, easily.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
obvious.
So what I want to ask about this, too, is another work at play that actually got you two in the pit is Brother Michael.
Yeah.
So Brother Michael has always been the conundrum of the season. I mean, we got a lot of information on him from the preview for this episode.
Yeah.
A bit of a misstep, I think.
Last image of the entire
Syfy.
episode. Yeah.
But Brother Michael, his motivations for putting you two together, he knows that Alan's up to something. He's known about it for a long time. When he talks to him, his brother Jerome, he still kind of has an inkling, and now he even knows about you to some degree.
Right.
So what would his motivation for repairing your relationship be? Even in this case, was he wishing you would just kill each other? Like, where is that going? So I'm really wondering where he stands on this whole Ilaria issue, because he obviously knows about them.
Or something with the Silver Eyes, depending how long he's been there.
We know from some of the online stuff that Ilaria is watching Michael, but not, at least directly overseeing it.
Yeah.
They view him as a potential threat.
Yeah. What I wonder, too, is depending on, because we don't know exactly how long Michael's been on this island.
Yes, we do. He says 500 years. He's been building it for
he does
500
mention
years.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but my point, though, is obviously the Silver Eyes have been, coercing. They've been there for many, 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 many centuries. But the company itself, Ilaria, obviously probably wasn't like called such or a corporation 500 years ago.
Oh, of course.
So I wonder, if he's been there for that long, how much he knows about how the Silver Eyes work now. Did he try to separate himself from
got
it?
a big piece of information this episode that I don't know if you guys took it away. I took it away, Matt. You were probably about to mention it. When she says Sarah's a Silver Eyes.
Well, yeah, when Agnes says that Sarah is a Silver Eyes.
And he's like, that's impossible. She wasn't there.
Yeah.
So when did we create this 500?
That's a good question.
500.
500.
500.
Yeah, they were all together at one place. In my mind, I think it might have been called Olympus or something. I don't know. Going back to our theories from last year, but it implies that there was a single event that created it. It wasn't like slowly one person made it, and then they made another, and then it was 4, and then it was 10. It was had to be one moment in time that they were all created and they were all together.
What this means for me is that the fact that Sarah's a Silver Eyes, we know that you can turn people into a Silver Eyes. We knew that, but we didn't know that Ilaria didn't know that. And And we didn't know that Brother Michael didn't know that.
Well, we don't know. Hold on.
Well, we don't know.
There is
Ilaria
nothing proving that Ilaria doesn't know. We don't know. We know that Brother Michael split off from all the other Silvers 500 years ago. So any scientific advances that have happened since then, he knows very, very little about. This guy, the vast majority of his expertise comes from old-fashioned, tried-and-true grafting, nature. There's not a computer on this island.
Yeah, but even the equipment they have, though, is still something within the last, century.
Yeah, but people are coming
surgery.
on, so, people can come and bring those things to them.
But I'm just saying, none of them are aware that there are other immortals out there. I'm sure that many of them aren't even aware that he's an immortal, which means that any advancements that they have made, he's thoroughly unaware
So what
of.
made me think in this episode, what I think his actual, what his goal is to turn back the clock. He's immortal, but he doesn't know how to make people immortal, and our theory was one that he was either trying to devise something that could kill them or something that could make somebody immortal. But now when he talks about if we can only just turn back time on you to Agnes, I think, or no, to Anne, it makes me feel that all of this they have been helping him develop a way to turn back the clock. Because they all seem to believe there's no way that anyone else can become immortal. But if he's, what is he? It looks like he's 40, 45, maybe 50. If he's trying to turn back the clock to be a younger man and stay immortal.
Or what if, rather than he's trying to turn back the clock, he's trying to make this, what if this is the Willis hypothesis that was talked about last season, that it's making everyone immortal.
Yeah.
Which is what we sort of got, we weren't 100% confirmed on that, but that was sort of where we were
That's where
landing.
we left it.
So what if he's part of the team that created the Willis hypothesis, or his name is Michael Willis?
Well, we will find out, and we will get into Liz's thoughts on that and my thoughts on that in just a moment. But first, I need to quickly mention iTunes. I do it every week, and it's for good reason. Don't you dare skip ahead, and I'll tell you why.
You can't skip ahead because this is live.
Yes, this is live, because the best way to support AfterBuzz TV is to go to iTunes, rate and review the shows that you listen to or that you watch on YouTube. You can also go on YouTube and click that subscribe button so that you can follow us there. Because here's the thing, folks, we put out over 100 hours of free after show content every single week. It's the widest array of after show content anywhere on the web. You can take me to court. I will win that court case. I will win that lawsuit because I'm telling the dang truth.
Don't take him to court. He can't afford it.
I can't afford it. No. But I would still win, and it would be worth the point. The only way that we're able to do all this great stuff and do it all for free for you is because of our sponsors. And our sponsors choose us because they see that we have a passionate fan base that loves us and that is willing to step up to the plate for us and just write a quick review. It's really helpful. It just takes a second. Doesn't cost you a dime. And it's how we also get great guests like Mr. Neil Napier. You also get a great shout out here on the show. We have a new review from Helix Lover 40, 5 stars. I love your guys' podcast. The beginning music gives me a laugh each time I watch it. Also, your predictions are so fun to listen to, and I love how laid back you are. I love seeing if your predictions come true. It just makes the show so much more fun. P.S. Your podcast is awesome, and I look forward to watching you every single week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to give us few shout-outs to the chat roll on YouTube.
Oh, please do.
Shout out to Bridget Shee Wardstone, who says, I'll swoon if Neil speaks more French.
Yeah.
Alors, ouais, on peut faire ça. Je peux parler en français pour c'est quoi son nom? What is her name?
Bridget Shea Wardstone.
Bonjour Brigitte, je suis enchanté de vous rencontrer.
There you go. Lilith Colbert says, "Give me bees to wasps or hornets any day." You be careful, Liz. We're not shipping you to get you and him to get.
We're not stopping the show if you pass out.
All right.
We're just going to keep going.
Lilith Colbert says, "I think Michael knows Hataki. He mentioned being 500 more, which is the age of Hataki, and she also says that I think he's been working on the Willis hypothesis. She agrees with you. And since Michael is obsessed with plants, Hataki is seen with plants. Therein lies the connection." Bart J. Braswell says, "Does Michael not know you can create silvers? Is that what he's trying to do?"
All right. Well, I'm going to give my 2 cents on this because what?
I said Matt. I'm just messing with you.
Okay. Because here's the thing. I do not think that he's trying to create more silvers or to turn back the hands of time. I think that he'd like to. I think that based on that last scene with Agnes and, the scene with Anne where he's like, it's a pity you're so old. We find out that he only sleeps with his daughters who are under the age of 30.
If they are his daughters.
They are all his daughters. I don't know if he has sex with his daughters, but he has sex with every other woman who comes onto this island.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
At least one of them more was pregnant, we heard last week.
Yeah.
Right. But he has no respect for people of a certain age.
No. And the other thing, too, is then I had to laugh, too, because I'm like, she's like your age equivalently as far as like what
You're talking
appearance
about Anne,
goes.
not Agnes.
Yeah, Anne.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean,
He's
like...
a thing for A names for his daughters.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
What is that about?
Fucking A.
Fucking A.
Whoa.
Whoa. Way to make us
Whoa.
explicit.
bleep.
F and A.
How do you say that word in French? No, I'm kidding. Don't say it.
Well, just based on...
Well, you know what? If you say fuck in French, it means seal, like
There
the
you go.
animal.
Oh my God! I'm gonna say it all the time at work now.
PHOQUE.
I wouldn't say that at work.
Folk.
Fuck
Folk.
is a seal.
All right.
The seventh folk. All right, so I don't know that he's necessarily trying to make more silvers. What he does have is a mastery over nature and his obsession with controlling nature and taming nature to his will. Going back to Play God, Pay the Price, we got to see how he's playing God in this episode. And I think that's very, very important.
I'm going to throw in a nickel because you only gave in 2 cents, which is showing,
Right.
better.
Superior order.
Yeah, basically. No, but I think that I agree. I don't think he's trying to make more silvers. I think in order to kind of gain some sort of, kind of to make his female followers more like, oh, swoon, but you love me, right? Like, yeah, honey, don't worry about it, baby. I'll make you immortal if I can. But, like, that's never been the point. He just probably tells them that's something he might be trying to work on so he can be with that, they can be with him forever.
But Agnes is not even aware. Like, she's so taken aback by someone else being a silver, she didn't even think that was an option. So I doubt that he's ever talked about that.
Yeah, they seem, especially the conversation with Amy, I think it's pretty clear that they have no clue that that's even a possibility. I think they think he is a complete anomaly.
They just think that he is a god.
Yeah.
He is a god on Earth. And
I don't think that.
well, it's a cult. I mean,
I don't think they think he's a god. I think he's just.
if not a god, but a prophet.
yeah,
Like,
profit
a
of
prophet,
something.
yeah.
That's normally how those work.
I don't know. I still think there's more to it. I know we find out this episode that there's a lot to do with the bees, and that the bees are kind of the secret. But they've been cultivating bees in certain places, and they just didn't want it transferring to different places. I now really think that it was honey that they were putting into that woman the other time when they took her teeth out, and I still think they're just harvesting teeth, trying to see if the teeth grow back, or if there's the mother prophecy where they didn't talk about mother.
Yeah, they didn't. Oh, darn it! What was I going to say? Dang it!
wait.
come back to me.
I completely forgot about Mother. Let's talk about Mother. Mother, who totally has an A name. Whoever she
Whoever
is.
she is, she has an A name.
Yeah, because he's naming all his
Amanda.
daughters.
Agatha.
Adam, wait.
Mother Agatha.
No, I think whatever happened to the 500 some odd years ago, I personally, I'm thinking meteor. I'm not sure. Like, if we're thinking 1500 years ago, was the Crusades 1500 years ago? What was 1500 years ago?
1,500 years ago.
I wasn't
The year
around.
500.
Well, it was
like the
AD.
fall of the Roman Empire was around that time.
What? 500 years
500.
ago?
I think you said 1500.
No,
You said
500. I meant 500 years
Good
ago.
job.
500 years ago. Yeah, Crusades, the plague. You want to talk about Narvik?
Yeah.
Comparisons.
Let me throw this out. If we want to go to Crazy Town, what if the Black Plague, was brought on by whatever event caused these immortals? These immortal people, whoever they were all like right by the crash site and were inoculated to whatever came from this event.
Yeah.
So you're
which
talking
swept across the
crash
world.
site. You sounds like you're talking aliens. Now.
I don't know. I'm not saying aliens.
I've been watching way too much Ancient Aliens since it's been on Netflix.
I'm
so
not
don't even
saying
get me
aliens.
started.
I'm saying a meteorite with radiation. That's my personal.
They are
Not aliens.
all
not aliens.
I think that Well, I just kind of think it's interesting because you mentioned Black Plague and stuff, and then we had Narvik, which what better way to compare that of what the hell, you were coughing up all last season. Ziz. But, it kind of makes sense. I mean, whatever happened but irrelevant, they're there, and it's now just a matter of, God, I'm so upset I couldn't think about what I was going to mention before.
I would lean away from something from space because I think that this shows the thesis statement of this show, not just the marketing slogan, but it seems to also be the thesis: play God, pay the price. It's about playing with science. I think so. If you go, hold on, let me finish this. If you go back to something similar to the idea of the meteor, but if you dig into what if they uncovered the primordial ooze? 500 years might fit close to. I don't know the exact time that Europeans and everybody would have gotten to Australia. Yeah. But there's supposedly a place in Australia where you can see remnants of the primordial ooze out in the desert.
Black Mountain.
So what if they got into that and using that and then science somehow created the ability to be immortal?
What I kind of, you guys don't get too caught up on the 500-year thing.
Yeah, because I was about to say, wasn't there that scene with the guy that they found
who was 900 years old?
No, but he was also mentioning he was a Viking.
Right.
That was way more than 500 years ago.
Yeah, because he's been doing this on the island for 500 years. It doesn't mean he's 500 years old. He could be 2,000. He could be 100,000.
Well, they make it sound like it's
not 100,000.
Well, they make it sound
outrageous. Who lives 100,000 years?
Yeah. But they make it sound like it's been something like some of these people could be way over 1,000 years old. Mm-hmm. Think of Egypt and I mean, there's a place in Lebanon.
I do remember da.
Well, shut up. But there's actually a place in Lebanon where there's these remnants of ruins that they think aliens used to land on and stuff. So we were talking about all that stuff before about something happening in a collective area. I started thinking about that.
I mean, I still it stands to reason that these people just think about how they're treating Michael, would be considered gods at certain times just because of the fact that they age. Because even the people on the island have to know, they may not know about the Silver Eye. He clearly keeps
but they know he's been
but
there.
They know he's immortal because he hasn't. Anyone that's over the age of 20 has seen him not age in 20 years.
I also want to know. I think how cool it is that obviously they don't have contact lenses on the island, but she's injecting some sort of
natural dye.
She's doing it prison style.
Blue.
He's gangster.
Yeah. We need to move on because we still have a lot to cover. Dr. Kyle Summer, Dr. Dick Texas.
Second Sergio.
He's not like Sergio.
He's not like Sergio. He's Dr. Dick Texas.
Second Sergio.
He's not 50
Alan?
Shades of
All right.
Mark.
Please.
Constructive.
So he, first of all, he's having the worst time ever on this island.
Womp womp.
Every time that he goes anywhere by himself, he is attacked or he is hit on wantonly and then judged by Landry, who's
Poor
the
pretty
world's
people.
biggest little creep.
Biggest little creep.
He's the biggest little creep.
That's the dude that's always getting with the.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, but how deprived are you? As soon as she takes out a glove, he's like, oh.
Well, I just have to say on Brother Landry that Sean Tucker, who plays Brother Landry, wanted me to thank Stephen for nicknaming him Handy.
Handry.
Handry. And that I'm to also steal one of these mugs for him.
Oh, fantastic.
We won't tell anybody.
Well, let's talk about Handry, who is just getting the mixed signals of his life.
Oh, gosh.
Okay?
I almost feel bad for him if he wasn't so creepy.
First, she says, this is never happening again. 4 hours later, maybe, just straight in there with two hands. Two hand
condoms. Can I just say, too, there was a point where she was like, because of you, I have a way to get off this island. And he's all there like I almost feel like he was like, and I get to go with you? And I can come with you?
Well, he did tell Dr. Dick Texas that she's the best thing ever to happen to this island.
Or him.
Mm-hmm. Well, you also have her taking the honey, saying the honey is the ticket off the island.
Right.
And
then we have 30 years later this whole virus being out.
Yeah, and then there's also the whole jealousy thing where he was even talking with her name is not Anne, it's the younger one, Amy. Yeah, he was telling her about oh, your friend. He's like, he's not my friend. The jealousy that he has, which is so interesting to me considering how convoluted this whole society is, where people have weird relationships with people, but then they get knocked up by Brother Michael.
Well, because they're not supposed to have relationships.
Yeah,
they're supposed to be celibate and just let Michael have his way with people. Oh, but guys, did you notice that there was this episode had some interesting directing just on the performances? There was 2 moments where I noticed, she goes, "This jar is going to get me off." this island. There's a brief pause there, and it was also there's Michael when he's like, "There's a beehive where the hive should."
Not B.
Not B.
I remembered the B part. I didn't catch the one with
This is like
Amy.
Steven level pun.
Yeah,
It's a work of
It's
beauty.
because they love our show, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a shout out to AfterBuzz TV.
It's important. It's important to mention.
It is AfterBuzz, you guys.
That's true. But it's important to mention, getting back on topic, that Kyle, we learn this episode, we get our first flashback, we learn that he's working for the government. We don't know which branch of the government. It's not specified whether it's CIA, FBI, Marshal Service, whatever. But the only reason why he is a member of the CDC team at all is to apprehend Alan Farragut. So there was no guarantee.
But he does have a background in things that they said would be especially well that he could join up with Alan's.
I'm not contesting that.
Yeah.
But there was no guarantee that Alan was going to be on this island. The last time that they saw him was right before Ilaria broke up. So right before, Ilaria got bombed.
So they have to know that he's there.
No. They hired him to investigate Alan. The best way to investigate somebody you can't find is to go on his old team to figure out stuff about him and figure out what happened.
Fair enough.
Get close to Sarah because they assume maybe that he'll make contact.
He just kind of got lucky. I do want to give a shout out to Allison Lauder and Severn Thompson, Sister Ann and Sister Amy. We are getting them on the show sometime this season.
Oh, great.
So they are fans of the show. And apparently, to learn about Helix, Allison actually watched our first season after show.
Yes!
to get more into Helix.
That's fantastic.
She loved the show before she was on the show.
They are both awesome on the show. I think Allison and Severn do a bang-up job, and they're great new additions and amazing to work with as well. So we're really lucky to get the both of them. I want to give a quick shout-out to Emma Philly, who's not writing her cultural anthropology paper right now to watch this show.
Yeah.
Atta girl.
Bad girl. You need to get work done, girl. What are you doing?
Shut up, Matt. No. After the show.
It's going to be available on YouTube in perpetuity.
She's researching her paper.
It's like anthropology is the study of human cultures. This is a whole.
I do one more shout out. Sorry. Allison was telling me about working with Claire Coulter, who's huge in Canadian stage work, and said that she's phenomenal. And you don't really see it until this episode, where you're like, yeah, she's really good at making a believable character. So I do want to give a shout out to Claire.
Absolutely, Claire's amazing. Well, beautiful stage actor too. Oh my God.
In this episode, you really got some stuff from Amy that was she played this. She was vulnerable and aggressive and like hunting at the same time.
You're talking about in the scene with Kyle.
Yeah, she went back and forth. Like she was like, "How am I going to play this guy?" She's trying to get a read on him. We're only now realizing we don't know how to read him because we're only learning that he has other motivations.
Right. We just learned his motivation this episode. It's still unclear.
Yeah, but I still think that's why I kind of just like the fact that he's calling him Second Sergio, because Sergio was like kind of brutal when he had to be about things, and so far it just seems like he's just trying to get more information about and being undercover. It doesn't
He's
sound
Second
like.
Sergio.
Let's talk about being undercover, because he and Alan are alone for a second, and then he's immediately dropping cover, asking questions that he could have held for later, causing a physical altercation.
And Alan's tied up again already, 50 Shades style.
Already. Oh, God. 5
Hey, speaking of 50 Shades, I wore plaid this time around because I thought this was 50 Shades of Plaid, this show.
No.
And now I'm the only one wearing plaid. Like, what's going on here?
You didn't bring the candy like Sergio did, like first Sergio.
The first Sergio.
I told Mark and Amy has to bring candy.
Okay.
Please don't. It made so much noise.
I was like,
so we only got 10 minutes left.
Yeah, we got 10 minutes. Can we talk about this show,
Yes.
please?
God, okay, fine.
All right. So Alan's tied up. I want to briefly mention the Michael, Amy, and Ann scene with the suicide tree. Where that was just like a harrowing scene where he's squirting that sap right into her mouth. Terrifying. Stop it.
Shut up.
To prove a point. We also have to talk about Sarah, who's still pregnant, and gets knocked out by Agnes. Yes, go ahead.
Could the stab? I don't know. I can't remember we talked about this last. Could the stab have somehow shot the pregnancy into like a forward
That's what I
motion?
said 3 episodes ago.
Yeah, because her body was too weak to produce whatever antibodies are keeping it at bay.
But it was her pancreas and something with her lung. It actually wasn't.
I still think it was when she dripped the virus on her. I think that's what did it. I think she's slowly getting sick, and that's making her more human. Because they mention it 30 years later with
It's all
Julia.
around.
Well, Julia, he's like, well, it takes you being sick to become more human, huh? And I think that's kind of a play on what's happening with Sarah in the
with
present.
Caleb?
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
just what? Wait.
Just take it.
Breathe.
Take it. Breathe, and take it.
What is this? A time machine?
Take it.
Anyway, let's talk about Julia and Caleb.
Yeah.
Get confirmation this week that what happened on the island is actually happening.
Yes.
Because nothing crazy happened.
Oh my God! What if the 500 people got sent back in time and the time machine thing was a play on?
No.
No.
I will walk away from this panel. I will do it right now.
Well, they'd all have to be there, and they're from all different cultures and things like that.
No.
I'd almost rather go aliens.
And they're
I'm
from
gonna
a
tell you no in French. No.
It's straight up fringe status. They're from a time when humanity has kind of destroyed the Earth, so they're going back to culture humanity into a point where they won't destroy the Earth.
Not Terra Nova.
I don't think so.
Hey.
Their attitude speaks to people. There's a line from the preview for next week where they say we have to take a firmer
Stance on
Save
humanity.
it for predictions.
Yeah, sorry.
But what I thought was interesting in this episode is with Caleb, we've started to build this. They started to tease at who his parents might be because he started talking about he didn't know his dad.
Yes.
And but he knew his mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but he talks about his mom cooking a lot.
Right.
I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be a hint. I don't know.
Still think it's Soren.
You still think it's Soren? I don't think it's Soren
No, I
because
don't
then
think
his
it's Soren.
name would be Soren,
Why
and
would
it's
he rename
Caleb.
himself?
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. I think that it's freaking Sarah and Alan's kid. Something happens, he's born. They even mention too, because it is exactly 30 years in the future. And the fact that they mention exactly how old he is 30 years old. Soren would have been older, because Soren would have been 40.
I didn't hear that they mentioned he was 30. I'm sorry.
Yeah, when did they mention that?
Yeah.
They mentioned it.
Well,
He was saying 30. I'm 30.
no,
Didn't
because
he?
we're 30 years in the future. We just know that he looks like
No,
he's
didn't
like
they?
30.
They never mentioned it.
Didn't they? I
Nope.
swear to I'm gonna rewatch
If you're
it.
in the
Watch
chat and you know, let us know.
Yeah, please tell us there was a
No,
scene.
they didn't mention it this week. They refer to a new outbreak that we are not familiar with of the Narvik virus.
Right.
And that's
30
the
years
huge
ago.
drop. Yeah, about roughly 30 years ago, implying that it's a little less.
I could have sworn that he was mentioning his age.
Caleb takes the sword, which is silver, and goes to finish off Ataki, is what we're assuming at this point.
What? No.
No, I assume that whatever it was that's on the sword.
On the backside.
First of all, I think that
He
can
reads
read-
Japanese.
Yeah, I think he can read. Thank you for stealing my thunder, Liz.
Yeah.
I think that he can read Japanese, and whatever it says on the back is his. That is his legacy. What if the formula to make silvers is written on the back of the
Oh my
sword?
God.
Mic drop. Mic drop.
I'm just gonna.
Confirmed by Neil.
Not confirmed. I like it. I confirm and deny nothing.
Here, around the table, what do we think is the translation of the thing on the sword, Liz? I'll come back to you, Steven.
Get A's in school, or I don't own you as a child.
I think it's got to be the cure to Narvik. It's got to be somehow the location of something, or boiled down the
just trying to picture what happened with that
equation.
looking kanji.
But the sword is his legacy.
Yes.
So my first thought was that it was just something simple like the names of his family or the names of the silvers or something. But his legacy would be something that would change the world, and not something that would
something he
cure this
did.
one thing. It would a formula just lands somehow.
I'm saying it's a formula
Yeah, it's a
too.
formula.
A cure is just one thing. It's not, you don't work your whole life to make a cure for something that you also help create.
What's on the back of the sword is how to make silvers human. Because that's what he was doing at Arctic Biosystems. It's his legacy. This is 30 years later.
But he didn't make silvers.
No, but he was doing the research on how to turn people silver. I mean, it makes sense. I don't know. Anyway, maybe I'm grasping at straws here. Maybe I'm remembering things wrong. But it makes sense that he would tell Julia that maybe he should never have turned her, and then says, "Here, this is my legacy. This is 30 years later. He could have done 30 years more of research." and it's
I like it.
Crazy.
I like it.
This is our predictions. Liz, just go ahead.
Yeah, to me it doesn't make sense because like he's been freaking gaga crazy with freaking headless, and the thing with the thing and the people. Like I can't imagine him being like, oh, we're gonna go fishing, and then he's like, science. It's like, no, you are batshit insane. Like I cannot picture him actually working on a cure.
Can you picture him trying to use it on himself and becoming batshit crazy? Experimenting. He's the only one who can experiment on.
It's true. It's or catch another silver.
No, because look at how what's Julia's mother's name? Jay. Look at
Jay was never silver.
No, I know she wasn't, but it looks like he did that whole thing formaldehyde kind of thing with them.
He embalmed her
very soon after. Like that takes a level of crazy that you were already crazy and didn't have a chance to experiment.
I know, but if he believes that they're real and he's still doing research with her at his side and him at his side, he could still be scientifically, mentally all there, just not.
Science is his big, like that's what he knows. It's like even if you started to lose it, like mentally, that doesn't necessarily affect your intelligence or your ability to perform tasks. So he could absolutely be carrying out science.
I hear some outro music.
Unfortunately, we need to wrap this up. Neil, can you just say anything about the season comment? Any episode that we should really be looking out for?
Oh, look out for all of them, man! Like every episode, there's new information, there are new twists. It is really going to get interesting. Some of your predictions are near the mark. Some are way off base. I'm not going to tell you which are which. But it's fascinating, man, the engagement you guys have with the show. We love it. We're really happy with it. And I think you're going to be really pleased with how the season winds up.
And you said season 3 premieres when?
and the next time you have a scene where you have to sneeze, you're going to accidentally say ziz in the sneeze.
So, Neil, once again, where can the people find you online?
I am at Neil Napier. That's my Twitter handle, NeilNapier. I think it's the same on Instagram, which I am rarely on. Yeah. So look me up on Twitter.
Anything else people should be looking out for?
There's like a TV movie coming up in May, I think, with Elizabeth Rom that I play her husband. That's in May or something.
I thought you were just about to say play her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you.
Video games all the time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming back, man. It's a pleasure.
Right on. It's a pleasure being here, guys.
All right. Stephen Lemieux, where can the people find you?
Hey guys, stop, collaborate, and listen. Hit that thumbs up button right now. Do it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. You can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, StephenLemieux.
Okay.
And on Better Call Saul later tonight.
Liz?
Hey, guys. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lizzie Again, that's LIZZYMAWY.
Hey guys, you can catch me on Twitter at @ZachWilson, ThatZachWilson. Bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, Better Call Saul with these two crazy guys, Grimm, and a whole bunch of others.
Okay, fantastic. And you can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman. That's MattLieberman. Check out my personal channel on YouTube, youtube.com/C/Matt Lieberman. SourceFed and SourceFed Nerd, Banshee, and Better Call Saul. I want to thank y'all for joining us. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.